If you're like me and you like old cars, and particularly old four-wheel drive vehicles, you're going to love this 60 Series LandCruiser. It was built up over a 2-month period by a team of enthusiasts, mainly over in WA. And that started almost 2 years ago. And because of COVID, it's taken this long to get the car over to the East Coast. The plan was to do a trip across Australia with many different people from all walks of the four-wheel drive industry driving the car. But now it's finally over here. The plan was to go and drive it up in the mountains, but in typical Melbourne weather, it's pouring rain. We've come across this old chook shed, which is the perfect place, full of old cars, to really get into the details of this vehicle. The best person to tell us about this project is Michael Ellen from Off-Road Images. Michael, come in and have a look.
How you going, Matt?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Not bad. What do you think?
Mate, looks amazing. Looks fantastic, really. It's a true resto mod, what they call resto mod in the hot rod circles. You had a pretty big team behind you working on this car, you know, to make it all happen with various things.
Yep.
Who was involved?
A huge team from bodybuilders, people that can fix anything that's to do with metal. And as you know, 60 Series, if it's going to rust, it's going to rust anywhere at any time. So these old cars are very different to the modern day vehicles.
That's for sure. It's obviously been a big job, and you've got a couple of modifications on here which don't detract from the traditional look of the car. Traditional colour, good old ARB look, plenty of that sort of gear on there.
We wanted to do a big trip, and I was talking to a guy over in WA, and I had this plan of buying a 60 at some point to help tell stories about people. Right, as almost like a prop, but to put people in and have a bit of a discussion with it. I love the 62 Series, but the round headlight 60 just looks kind of safari-like. And the sandy torque finish, that says safari, doesn't it? So you're going on a journey across Australia, let's make it sandy torque. We were in Kalgoorlie at the car park, and we start walking towards Woolies, and there's this car. We spotted up and a couple of people, and I said, look, is there anything you guys need help with? Yeah, they were having a bit of a hard time with it. It was always breaking down, and I looked in under the bonnet, and there's this V8 Chev in it. Something that's really important with these vehicles is that if it had a 12 HT, I probably would have left it that way. Yeah. Everything on it would have to be just the original standard, original specs. That's what I'd probably do. So I asked this couple if they wanted to sell it, like just to give me a call. I'd love to buy it. Sure enough, they ran over and said, if you are serious about doing this trip and fixing it up, we'd love to see it brought back to reality, which is what we always wanted to do. So they ended up agreeing to sell it to us. So at some point, when we get back to Kalgoorlie, these two are going to drive the car.
It's fantastic. You've really done a great job, and I'm sure they will have tears in their eyes when they see the transformation.
It's pretty good, eh?
Yeah, it is.
There's been some fantastic people involved in this.
Yeah, well, tell us about some of them.
So originally we got bodybuilders involved. They're on-track fabrication, so Luke is really good with metal. We did what's called the pull apart. We literally just pulled the whole car apart, and we found some terrible things going on. At the time it was 35 years old, and there's 35 years of history in the car. We found really bad rust in the bottom corners of the floor. One of those rust items was just repaired by putting a piece of metal in there and Sikaflexing it in. It never got any better because the window wasn't fixed. Yeah. So if you've got a leaking window, people, to replace that window and stop the water from coming in the first place. So fixing up the metal, they literally brought out the hammer and the leather and all the old school stuff. Nice. And I just sat there and watched them take a piece of flat metal, cut it out to shape, and just knock it about. It looked like it was original. Yeah, beautiful job. It's in the same complex, it's Distorted Paint and Restorations. Jaden's a top bloke, and he's a bit of a fanatic with these sorts of things. Initially, I just asked him to do a closed door respray, but as soon as he saw it, he went, nah, we've got to do the proper thing with this. Luke and Jaden, because they probably spent a bit too much time together, Jaden had a GU Patrol at the time which had a bonnet pop. He went, well, 76 scoop would look good. And then it escalated from that because 79's a much bigger pop. So it ended up being that they come up with the idea, and I said, yeah, that would be great. It just brings that more modern look. Yeah, well, that's the idea. We're a photographer, you may as well make it look good.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things. That's a retro look in those graphics you put on it, and then you've got emphasising the engine that's in there, things like that. It makes people look and think, hey, what's this about Optimizer V8? What is an Optimizer V8? Tell us about that.
Well, originally it was a 6.2, which was a Chev. There's so many people said to me, why have you got that engine in it? Like, it's just a terrible motor. And I thought, oh, it can't be that bad. Well, it kind of was, eh? It was pretty bad. So yeah, all those people out there that had a crack, they're probably right. At the end of the day, we either try and fix it or make it better. This is actually a 6.5, but it's a 6500 optimizer, which is basically an engine that's taken straight out of a Humvee. Brunswick Diesel have basically completely rebuilt it, and it looks like a brand spanker in there now. So any civilian 6.5 will normally have the computer sitting in the V, and they overheat. This has got no computer in it.
Compared to a H1 Hummer, which is 7 tonne, this is a lot lighter. It's going to have plenty of torque for getting along.
The concept behind this car is not for it to be a rocket ship. It's not a race car at all. It's got leaf springs, right? You have to steer this thing. It's a 60 series. The idea is when we're off-road, it's just going to idle up everything. You won't stop this thing, I don't reckon.
Well, keen to get up the mountain and have a go. But first, tell me a bit more about the accessories you put on it.
Yeah, Matt, look, the protection gear on the front of this is ARB, obviously. It's bloody strong. You're not going to have any problems with this. And mounted on it is the worn winch. It's synthetic rope, so it keeps the weight down.
Yep.
That should help us when someone makes a mistake and gets stuck somewhere.
Hopefully
sure we will. Good LED lights, one of the best lights I reckon, and looking down the road with the intensities you'll really see the road quite well. So we've also replaced the lights. So those candle lights that they come out with normally, there's a couple of Nava lights, a couple of aerials from GME. You've got one is for your UHF, the other one is cellular. We've got a Selfie Go inside. That combined with the aerial gives plenty of good communications.
And suspension-wise, it's all been rebuilt?
Suspension and running gear is pretty much all been replaced. So we've got onto terrain tamer for all the running gear. We replaced gears and bearings and cogs and just about everything, really.
Yeah, terrain tamer are great like that. They've got everything from LandCruisers.
Everything we could replace, we did. And it's all available through terrain tamer. The suspension-wise, we've gone for the old man Emu. We've got airbags in the back just to cater for the different loads, but that's all adjustable in-car through links.
So there is a computer in there?
Oh, there's so much going on inside, yeah. It really is designed to cater for whoever gets in the car to make their life experience in an old classic like this, bring them back to a little bit more modern touch. So inside we've done a lot. We've replaced the head unit. We put a halo unit, which is a single DIN, and it's a big tablet, full computer control, so you can do all your navigations. Stratos seats, really, really comfortable. I've had so many people say to me, oh, they are the most comfortable seats. You just get in there and you just kind of just, beautiful. Yeah, you fit good.
Snorkel here, safari snorkel.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not an Armax, is it?
No, it's not the big Armax. They probably don't make an Armax for the 60 series, do they?
No, they don't. No. But it's so funny because we've got the Armax on the 79, and you're used to seeing Armax on Hiluxes and Ford Rangers and things like that, and they're just so big and chunky. And you see this thing here and it's like, oh, well, I guess that's all we really needed back then.
Probably true. Up on the roof there, more LED lighting.
Yep, nice bush ranger light bar. It's just to give a bit more spread and coverage. Then behind that, we've got set of treads for when someone else gets stuck, so we can take those off the roof. Now we've got a couple of solar panels up there from Red Arc, and there's a really nice box there for people to put extra gear in if they need to, and a swag at the back. Shovel holder and high lift jack. Awning on this side pretty much covers it.
Yeah, really set up to go anywhere. So you spoke about the newer stuff, the modern equipment you put inside the car, but on the outside I noticed something looks like it's not old school. Is these wheels? They're certainly not 60 series.
Look, at the end of the day, the one thing you can do with a four-wheel drive to make it better and make it your own is to personalise it. And the best way to personalise a car is to put a set of wheels that you like, that says you. You can change any car straight from factory, you change the wheels and you make it your own straight away. These are ROH Vapors. You might have noticed I've got them on the 79. I just love the Vapors, and it's a great combination. The BFGs, the KM3s, awesome grip is what we need for people that are driving this car. I want everybody to be comfortable and safe. I'm a photographer. I want it to look good, right? So may as well make it look good. Yeah,
you've certainly achieved that. It does look great. But speaking of grip, has it got lockers in it?
Absolutely, mate. ARB air lock is the only way to go. Controlled through links, just through a touch panel. Just bang, yep, locker on, bang, other locker on. It's pretty easy. With this engine, it's kind of like a tractor. Even more so, we got Mark's four-wheel drive to completely overhaul the gearbox. But Jeff down there, he's a fantastic guy, but he's pulled everything apart on that gearbox and transfer case, and every component was cleaned up, tidied up. So this has got a reduction on the low range. Now with lockers, the tyres, and the torque that comes out of this thing, you can walk faster than this car will drive in first gear low range.
So tell us about some of the gear you put on it.
Well, after all the bodybuilding and the paint, and went to ARB Wangara to get certain parts added to it, and then it went back out to Kalgoorlie to get some electrical done and fixing up the motor and gearbox back in and so forth. I flew back in and we trailered it back to ARB Wangara and finished off some parts there. Then it went back to Luke's and it went back to Jaden's. The bonnet was installed. It's just all over the place.
Yeah, but as you say in the start there, it's a real team effort. You've had a big team role.
Even at ARB Wangara, there was a whole stack of people came in just on the weekend. There was about 8 people all putting in their own time just to help out. It's amazing how an old car like this will bring a whole lot of people together. I must say I've formed some really good lifetime friendships through building this.
I think those friendships are going to carry on as well with more people getting to drive this car as it tours around the countryside. You build relationships all over the place.
The idea of this vehicle is that I want to tell stories about people that have been involved in my life. Not just my life, but people that have influenced the four-wheel drive industry. If you look at the world of four-wheel driving, Australia's got some amazing people, amazing talents and amazing engineering and design. So I'd love to showcase some of that because kids that are coming up in the younger generations, and also people that are getting into four-wheel driving in their later stage of their life, they don't know who these people are. And this is my opportunity of giving something back. You know, obviously they're going to be happy because they're behind the wheel and they're at their favourite spot, but it's taking this person to their favourite destination, driving this old bus, the 60 series. So yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I really look forward to hearing some of these stories, and I'm also looking forward to getting a drive myself. The interior's got a much more modern look to it, and it's very black in there.
Yeah, look, rather than just going for the beige look that these 60 series have, the original roofline, it was all falling down and there was big holes in it and so forth. It needed to be replaced anyway. Jaden actually from Distorted Paint, he suggested that we could go black and it would be fine. We got Tyson from Pro Stitch. He got involved in a complete new roofline. So I also spoke to Rowan from Department of Interior about consoles. Rowan's pretty great with this sort of stuff, but they've made me up a custom floor-based console. But the roof console is absolutely amazing. It still has that old school look, but it introduces the modern technology that they put into these sorts of things. It's a really good way of mounting the radio and so forth as well.
It really does give the car a more modern look inside.
Then the steering wheel. The original steering wheel was terrible. So we had troubles finding a replacement one. Yeah. We looked at a 79 series steering wheel, which was that blue-grey sort of colour. They look terrible, right? Yeah. They really do. But Tyson got on board and he said, oh, I can cover this for you. I'll make it look really good. So it's complete leather covered and it has the Sandy 60 logo on it. Everyone that's driven it so far really likes it. We were in two minds whether it was a good thing to do at first, but once it was placed in the position, there's no coming back from that. It's a great result. The rear seat, we've kept that original. The guys at MSA, Shane Miles, he sent one of his team members from over in Perth and they completely customed a seat cover. The seat wasn't in great condition, I must admit, that one.
You got to say they're 37 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
Going right to the back of the car, into storage equipment there.
Oh, it's beautifully set up. It's just like a Prado or a new sort of modern vehicle. We've got ARB drawers in the back. On one side there's a lithium battery. It's a 100 amp hour lithium battery from Revolution Australia. Got them in the big truck, the 79, and never failed me, so I'm really happy with those. They run all the Red Arc gear in the back. It runs a zero fridge and it's on a low level drawer so people can see in what they're doing, and a full height drawer on the right hand side. Inside that drawer is a Pelican case. People take the vehicle on a journey, they've got this Pelican case and it's got a coffee grinder. It's got the original Bialetti that we've had on all our trips, right? And it's got a burner and so forth, so they can make a coffee.
Fantastic. The Bialetti's made a comeback.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it had to make a comeback somewhere.
You're known for it, so.
Now we've put a 700 watt pure sine wave Red Arc inverter in there. Now one of my favourite things of the way that all of that Red Arc gear has been installed is that they've got what's called a 1206. It's a charger that feeds from the battery in the back to the 2 Century batteries under the bonnet. When the car's sitting there and not doing anything, you plug it into a power point and the Red Arc's BMS charges the lithium battery, and the lithium battery through the 1206 charges the front batteries. So this could be sitting a week and not have any problems with batteries at all. Battery management system, it just works.
They are known for that, having great reliable systems.
On the driver's side, hidden away, is a Arv Dual Compressor with a tank. Now that's for inflating the tyres, but it also runs the Airbagman airbags in the back, and that's all controlled by links up the front. So as you're driving and you're just taking on extra fuel, so she's a bit more heavy, or someone's jumped in and they've put more drinks in the back or something like that, and you just want a little bit more airbag, you can pump them up from the front. There's a full Tpms system in this, which gives us temperature and air pressure for every tyre on the car. So as we're driving down the road, if something happens, it gives us an alert.
Not only does having the right tyre pressures give you better tyre life, you get more for your money, more for your investment, but it's also a safety issue too. So many people on the road these days have underflated tyres and they don't even realise.
Absolutely. If you've got the wrong tyre pressures and you're driving down the road, the temperature of the tyre can tell you that something's going wrong. If those temperatures are getting up too high, you're probably running too low a pressure, or it's too high a pressure, but something's going wrong, so you can monitor that. One of my favourite things that we have done though, the pop-out windows. So we've got a set of gull wing windows that pop out the side. They're from 3XM. How good are they? You can just pop the window out, reach in, grab a bottle of water, or at camp around late at night, you can grab a beer.
Makes it so much more accessible.
On-track fabrications say custom things, right? So they suggested that they'd like to make a rear wheel carrier and something to hold some fuel. I said, can you do me a favour when you're making it? Do whatever you want, but the only thing I really like is that side profile of the rebar. So George and Luke, George was a third-year apprentice at the time, they sat there for probably about 40 minutes, just checking it all out, working out angles and so forth, and they designed a bar that's going to fit that and keep the original looks. I think they've done a fantastic job. It's got full recovery points on it and everything. Yeah, it's perfect. So that gives us 40 litres on the back with a rebar setup with 2 jerry cans when we need it for a real long trip. But on day-to-day running and on a trip, we've got an auxiliary tank underneath, which is from Long Ranger. It's great construction and basically uses the same filler. You fill it up and it just gives you more fuel capacity.
Not quite enough to get you from one side of the country to the other, but it's not going to take so many fills in between.
I think this will use a lot of fuel. Again, the aerodynamics, it's kind of a bit of a Besser block as you're driving down the road too. So Matt, typical to Melbourne, we've got some crazy conditions out here, and I think this shed's going to blow down at some point. So how about you take this girl for a bit of a drive?
Yeah, mate, I'd love to take you out. I'll show you one of my favourite little weekend drives just outside of Melbourne.
Well, Matt, I reckon that'll be awesome. I can't wait to get out there on the tracks with you. It's pouring down outside, so these tyres better give us some good traction.
Yeah, mate, let's get out of here and go and find a good spot to get up the mountain.